Ladies and gentlemen, is it possible? I need to turn this on over here. Is it possible that the Jets could have maybe, perhaps, I'm not sure, but maybe the Jets have two quarterbacks who are at least pretty good? Well, it's Friday night, August the 21st. Coming to you live, 2,154 hours as the Jets close out a shutout against the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, 17-0. They couldn't put up anything on our defense. But the real thing we got to keep in mind, we forgot to do something. The real thing we got to keep in mind is some of these performances, some of these things that we saw in live action. Let me just do one thing over here. I got to pop out the chat so as to make this thing functional. Hang on one second. Pop out chat. Close this over here. All right, now this is popped out. All right, so we got ourselves a win. Let's just test this. Yeah, that comes through. So Matthias is now here. They won. Yeah, we got ourselves a win, 17-0. And we saw some encouraging things other than just the fact that we won. I think you saw a real offense in the beginning of that first drive. Gino looked good, looked healthy, looked the way I've been telling you he looks. Very accurate, runs the offense really well. Nice going, good job. But then, more importantly, probably than that, Cade Klubnik comes in there, and let's be honest, he looks like he belongs. I don't know what level he's going to get to, but let's be honest, so far, from what we've seen so far, Cade Klubnik looks like he belongs in the NFL. And for us, the Jets, I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at, okay? Nothing to sneeze at. JoJo is here. Phil Adams is here all the way from the across the pond over there, where it's 3 a.m., Sachetti's here. Joe the Jet G is here. Klubnik looked better than Aller. Yeah, Aller did not have a particularly good outing, I would say. Klubnik looks like he belongs. Now, Aller was always known to be more of a developmental project. And he looked like that tonight. You saw some things from Aller that you liked, but mostly a lot of no bueno. So Matthias says he agrees. Yeah, I mean, the most important thing is maybe we got ourselves two quarterbacks. When could we say that recently? So that's the good news. You got the veteran, looked good, looked healthy, looked like I thought he would look, but, you got to see it out on the field. And leads us to a touchdown, and then he says, thank you very much, and says, I'm done for the evening. And they pull him out, and Cade Klubnik comes in and looks like he belongs. Now, did he do everything perfect? No. But this is a guy, we didn't know exactly what we had with him. You hoped, you wished, everything. There was a lot of positive coming out of, training camp and things like that, so that was good. But you got to see the kid do it. And now we got 2 games in a row where he looks pretty good. Now, I'm not going to say he's amazing. He should be a starter. No. I would say with Cade Klubnik, so far, so good. This is, you couldn't really hope for much more than this. I mean, you saw tonight, Drew Aller. You saw the other night, even Fernando Mendoza struggle a little bit. These guys, these rookies, they struggle even in the preseason sometimes. So you got to be happy with what Cade did. We finally ran a deep pass, yeah, and I even liked that at the end. We were in plus territory. There's no reason to punt or kick a field goal. 4th and 2, they expect to run. Throw the bomb. Why not? We were up, and that's what happens when you get up. I mean, a couple of things happened kind of situationally that were interesting. This guy, Nate Lynn, comes out of nowhere, starts sacking the quarterback left, right, and center. Who the hell knows who this guy is? And the reason he can do that, we're up by a couple of, by a couple of scores. And so we kind of know they're passing. And and he was beating Broderick Jones, by the way. I don't know what the Steelers are doing with Broderick Jones, but I don't think they're going to be starting him because he's in the fourth quarter of a preseason game and getting beat by Nate Lynn pretty easily. So I don't know. That's a first-round pick right there. Guy who I don't know what they're doing with him, but probably shouldn't be starting him. Nonetheless, good for Nate Lynn. Maybe he's making his case for a practice squad spot. But nonetheless, plus we got a couple of picks. What's going on here? we got quarterbacks and we got picks. What's going on? We got some sacks. David Bailey got himself a sack. We got a couple other sacks. In fact, how many sacks did we ultimately have? Let's look at the defense. Sacks, 4. All right. David Bailey had 1. Nate Lynn had 2. Chase Wilson, who are these people? He had 1. I mean, they had a Landon Roberts playing into the fourth quarter. Landon Roberts, this is an experienced linebacker. I thought they were a little weird with how they played their defense, to be honest, which makes Cade Klubnik's performance, which, wasn't earth-shattering or anything, but still, I thought he played against good defenders, and they were blitzing the hell out of him. So they weren't like, hey, let's play some soft coverage and see what the kid can do. They were like, no, let's get in this kid's face. And he did pretty good. So I think that's pretty encouraging, actually. So, yeah, JoJo's here. He says, first offense played well even without Brees. Yeah, and that's encouraging. Only going to get better when Brees obviously returns. Braylon got some stuff going. And Isaiah Davis is also missing. He's our third back, and hopefully he's recovering well. We haven't heard much about him. But, I mean, we had Kene Nwangu in there for a long time, and then Sam Scott and Chip Trainum, and who are these people? So, yeah, I mean, even one of our superstars not present and accounted for, so. Jefe, yeah, but he's not going to be asked to do that, right? That he looked terrible. That was bad. That was bad. But that's something he's never, ever going to be asked to do. That's not what he does. In fact, he's never going to be carrying the football for us, probably. But, if you had Brees back there, certainly if you had Braylon back there, Braylon would have took that linebacker and shoved his face in the dirt. But we had little Kene, Kene's our kick returner. What do we do? What are we talking about? But he is technically a running back, so he was back there and he got his ass kicked. Hey. That's their starting linebacker, and this is our fourth running back. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do? But in a real life, that's never going to happen. So Phil Adams says, Bailey sack, 2 interceptions, Lynn preseason love affair. Yeah, this Nate Lynn guy, I mean, he can make a case for the practice squad. He looked quick out there. He looked like he had some juice. If you got juice off the edge, there's a place for you in the NFL, my friend. So he's looking good for the practice squad. Maybe we found something there. That'd be nice. To find a depth piece at edge, that's very nice. Very nice. JoJo says, I'm noticing. The kids all say, I'm noticing. And what is JoJo noticing? JoJo is noticing better tackling all around. Yeah. How about that? When you get better players who are good at tackling, they tackle better. All the things I told you last year. You can't tackle good when you don't have good tacklers. Get some good tacklers on your team and they start to tackle good. Who would have thought it? Oh, old Frankie. Greg Rollo is here. He says Jets starters looked pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Not going to say it looked, Super Bowl worthy, but looked pretty good, competent, professional. These are things we're looking for here. Defense looked good, Greg says. Greg, you might want to take it down a notch with the capital letters. Otherwise, you're just a screaming person, and it's pretty late. It's past 10 p.m. here on the East Coast. You don't want a guy coming in screaming all the time, Greg. Let's calm it down a little bit. Calm it down. Johnny's here. I thought the first team D didn't do very well tonight. Well, why do you say that, Johnny? I mean, let's not be a doomer. We got some sacks. We got some picks. We didn't give up any points. What are you looking for? Perfection? Come on, Johnny. Let's go. Keep it simple, RC. I think Mougey should grab a vet that shakes loose on cutdown day and move club to 3. Give the kid a chance to sit and learn. Well, we might do that. You know, a guy who might shake free, and I think even if we get a vet, I think Klubnik's going to be 2, although maybe he's 3 for the first 4 games, something like that. But a guy who could shake free is Mason Rudolph. There was a report that came out that said the Steelers are definitely keeping Howard and Aller for sure. That's just a report. Who knows what they'll do? But if they do that, it's kind of hard for me to see Mason Rudolph sticking on the team, and then he'd be perfect for QB 2/ eventually 3 type of guy. So, yeah, I mean, there's some of these teams, they have 4 quarterbacks or 5. I think Cleveland, some team has 5. But some of these teams with 4, what are they going to do? We've talked about this on Substack, so if you didn't know, I write a Substack. It's called frankiefromflatbush.substack.com, called Chemtrails. One of the things we've been writing about is what are these quarterbacks that could become available? You might get a Mason Rudolph available. You might get a Will Levis available. You might get a Dylan Gabriel available. You might get, who knows? Like the Eagles have 4 quarterbacks. You might get a Tanner McKee available or an Andy Dalton available. Who knows who becomes available? But these teams with 4 quarterbacks, what are they going to do? They're going to keep 4? That's very unusual. Teams don't even really like to keep 3. So somebody's got to shake free. But it'll be very interesting to see what Mougey's approach to the waiver wire is, because we're going to pretty much get one if we want to, because we have the number 2 slot. We have number 2 priority, and the Raiders have number 1. The Raiders don't want a quarterback. They have Cousins and Mendoza and Aiden O'Connell, and I think they're keeping all 3. And so they're not going to put in a waiver claim on a quarterback, I don't think. So, therefore, any quarterback that's available that gets waived, they can come on down. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who gets waived and if Mougey makes a claim. They might really think Cade can do it as QB2. I mean, everything that we've seen out of this regime tells you they love this Cade Klubnik kid. Love, love, love. And they might view Bailey Zappi as the veteran that's there just in case Gino gets hurt type of thing. I don't know. But everything we've seen and heard out of this regime, they love, love, love Cade. And you see why. Look at how he's performed. You saw him rip off a 16-yard run. He was our second leading rusher tonight. 1 run, 16 yards. We didn't really rush the ball very well tonight, tonight. But, he has that in his arsenal. You saw him. The mentals really seem to be there with the kid. He seems to be processing well so far. That's the most important thing. And you see, he does have a good arm, and he seems to be processing well. Things are not too big for him. He looks like he belongs and all these things. And if it turns out that he's pretty good, well, then you got to give it to old Frank Reich and Billy Moosegravy and Darren Mougey and say, hey, they saw this kid and they picked him out and they said, that's the one we want. And so let's hope he just continues. So far, so good for old Cade Klubnik. Keep it simple says, secondary looks solid. Well, it looks solid today, which was very nice to see, because that's one of the big concerns. If our secondary's solid, then the defense is going to be solid. The D-line's going to be solid. Linebackers, you only really going to have 2 on the field at all times, being DeMario and Jamian. And I noticed Jamian played a long time So I don't know what they were doing there with that, but then you could question linebacker 3, Kiko Marcelino, Michael Walker is injured, but mostly you're playing with 2 linebackers on the field 75% of the time. So if the defensive backfield is good, man, then maybe we could really have a good defense. That would be nice. Boss Girl says Bailey not only got held, but still got the sack. Yeah, Roderick Jones was struggling today. He was on the struggle bus. So I don't know what's up with Broderick Jones, but it's not looking good for him. That's a first-round pick now. I have a feeling he's going to be drawing a lot of holding, but yeah, he's super quick. Yeah, they're going to have to hold his ass. Some guy says, haven't seen Omar Cooper do much yet. Yeah, he's caught everything we threw to him, and he drew a defensive penalty. What do you want the kid to do? I think he was out there with the starters. I think he caught 1 pass tonight. Cooper, 1 catch, 9 yards. Yeah, but he got targeted once. We threw the ball to him. He caught it. What do you want him to do? Garrett Wilson had 1 catch for 10. Our leading receiver was Quincy Skinner, of all people. Junior Bergen looked good. A kid that we just signed. Who knows who the hell that guy is? But maybe he can make a case for the P squad. He looked kind of quick out there. Adonai Mitchell, A.D. Mitchell had 2 catches, 29 yards. Malik McLean, there's a P squatter, probably 2 for 25. A guy who has done absolutely nothing is Colin Lacey. That's a guy we paid a lot of money to, relatively, and he really has done nothing. So I don't think Colin Lacey is going to make even the practice squad. McLean almost certainly going to make the practice squad. And then you have a bunch of these guys. Quincy Skinner looked fine tonight. This Junior Bergen looked like he had a little juice, so maybe he can make it. But yeah, Omar Cooper's doing what we're asking him to do. He's running the routes, and he's catching the ball when we throw it to him. So that's what you want. He's our 3rd receiver. He's not going to be a volume guy. Our volume guy is Garrett for the most part. Sanders put 1 in the bucket. He'll beat out Old York. Yeah, probably. But York, you wonder if they'll carry York on the P squad. He doesn't look terrible. It's always nice to have a backup. Striker is here. Striker. I'm extremely impressed with our defense. It feels like forever since I've seen a pick. Yeah, we got 2 of them tonight. So that was good. Cisco made a nice read on the 1. So that was good to see. We need more people reading the quarterback properly. Who got and Sam Womack made a nice play. Womack is a guy who's definitely on the P squad, I would say. And Trey Brown as well. We got some pretty good cornerbacks on the P squad for P squad level. So yeah, always nice to get those. And I thought there was a fumble also. Yeah, fumble, but he didn't lose. Oh yeah, that weird play with Weegen. But we picked it off, but the foot was out of bounds. So, and then Isaiah Williams with a fumble. That wasn't good. But, yeah. Keep It Simple says, these media people complaining that Klubnik should get more time with the ones are the same people who bitched about moving up in the draft to draft the kid. They're all clans. Yeah, exactly. It's the doom squad. No matter what you do, it's doom, doom, doom. Oh, you shouldn't have made that trade to get him. Oh, he's not good enough. He's not tall enough. He's not this enough. That he didn't have a good year. Oh, can he handle it? He's a 4th-round rookie. Can he handle the workload? Oh, we should. And then he starts doing good. And why aren't they giving him more of a workload? Why are they, it's nonstop dooming. The only way to get this bullshit to stop is to start winning some games in the regular season. And so hopefully we start that process this year. But until then, the media people and the alternative media people as well, for the most part, they have to doom for clicks. Because what else are they going to do if you're not winning? Doom, doom, doom. The Jets are terrible, terrible. Every decision is no. David Bailey went out into the coverage one time. Yeah, it's called the Fire Zone Blitz, Brian Costello. That's called the Fire Zone Blitz. Every team runs it. Every single one. It's not unusual at all. Dum dum. But yeah, this is just the way it is with these media people. Let's keep it simple. So here's what it looked like in the regular numbers over here. All right. Geno Smith with a 144 passer rating. I mean, this is just even old Brady Cook hit a pass. Yeah. Klubnik got dinged for a couple of sacks. Bailey looked good this evening. The only thing, we didn't really run the ball, so that's a little concerning, but here's our receiving, Quincy Skinner. Good old Quincy Skinner. Yeah. Jordan Clark looked good on defense, I thought. He's making a strong push to make the team. He's got a problem in that you have Pons and you have Brown Lee. I don't know how he's going to leapfrog those guys, but he looked good tonight, and he's looked good he's had a good camp. So I don't know if we try to put him on the P squad, somebody might take him. Cisco and Womack with the picks, so forth and so on. Now, I did happen to keep track of these quarterbacks with my system of scouting, of course. And I can tell you that in my system, which has been explained to the members, if you're a member of this channel, you get so much stuff it'll make your head spin. But including my scouting system for quarterbacks, which we're using, put some little bets on some games. But anyway, in my system, I had Cade Klubnik for deep passes, 0 for 0. Didn't try any. Third level throws, he was 1 for 1. Second level throws, he was 3 out of 4. And routine throws, he was 6 out of 7. So pretty good stuff for Mr. Klubnik. Only 2 bad or inaccurate passes, none interceptable. 1 batted, 1 throwaway is what I had for him. And then with his pocket management and things of that nature added in, all of that totaled up to a B-, which is a good score in my system. So a B- is good because C is average. If you're doing a C, you're just an average quarterback. So B- is much better than that. So, it's the preseason. It's not the real thing, but pretty good for Cade Klubnik. Nice going. And I wonder if Geno is actually going to wind up with an A. Well, we'll have to tally these up. I mean, Geno really doesn't matter for, we're really curious about Klubnik and how's he going to do. I had no bad passes for Geno because he had 1 batted. That batted one counted as a completion because apparently Dylan Parham caught it. In my system, that just counts as a batted pass. So if I add this up 2 and 3, yeah, it's an yeah. So basically, you'd wind up with a B. So pretty good. Pretty good night for the quarterbacks all around, I would say. Pretty good. Drew Aller certainly didn't impress, but he's a long-term project, so I wouldn't judge him yet. Drew Aller, 11 out of 23, 110 yards, no TDs, no picks, 3 sacks. He didn't look like he was processing very well. I would say the difference, he made some he did make some throws that were dropped by their receivers, I thought. So I think it was kind of like a mince for Aller. Uh, had a bunch of drops, but also was under pressure. Like Nate Lynn was abusing Broderick Jones. I mean, that's really quite something. I don't think people understand. Broderick Jones is supposed to be their starting tackle. He was in there in the fourth quarter. What is going on? And he was getting abused by Nate Lynn. Who is Nate Lynn? Nobody knew who he was until this game. And so Drew Aller had to deal with pressure. He had to deal with, playing with all the backups and everything. And so I thought he did some good things, but for the most part, he didn't look great. But I wouldn't fully judge him. He's going to be stashed on the bench. Don't forget, he's going to be the third quarterback this year. They got Rodgers. We didn't see him. They got Howard. Looks like Howard, I guess, is going to be QB2 because it seems like they're going to get rid of Mason Rudolph, I guess. And then Aller's going to be number 3, and he's going to sit and learn and develop, and we'll see what he looks like next year. It's going to be interesting. Let's let the season go on. But after this year, there's going to be no more Rodgers for McCarthy to fall back on. Rodgers is saying this is it. So what are they going to do next year? Are they going to really go with Howard? I mean, Will Howard didn't look great either, I didn't think. He threw 2 picks to us. so that's not good. But I didn't think he looked particularly good either. But that's a guy who also needs a lot of seasoning. So we'll have to see. They're developmental, both of them. And if they don't like the way they develop, then maybe they sign someone. Maybe they draft someone. Who knows? Jelani Woods. What about Jelani Woods? It looks like maybe Jelani Woods can do something. So there was a big article about Jelani Woods recently in The Athletic saying he did something with his body. He's totally different now. You hear that all the time. It's like, yeah, whatever. But now it looks like maybe he could do something because every time I see him, he's blocking somebody. Block somebody. And he's doing that. And that is the way to get on the field, blocking somebody. And then that gives you opportunities to catch some passes. He caught the TD pass. Very nice. By the way, that TD pass, that is a play that I call Y-leak. The Y-leak play is the best play in football. It's also the easiest. So I wrote this on Twitter, once you understand Y-leak, watching football completely changes. So we ran the best play. I think it's the best play in football because it always works. If you got a play that always works, why not run it? So we did, and touchdown. Good job, everybody. Other people I thought stood out. Let's see. David Bailey, of course. Cade with his wheels. You saw him running. That was good. Even Brandon Stevens had a nice PBU, where he looked back for the ball at the appropriate time and knocked down the pass. Very nice by Mr. Stevens. I also think you saw a lot of schematic fluidity. So something I was watching very closely was our fronts, and we're doing hybrid. It's 4-3, it's 3-4, it's 3-4. What they call bear, and we're changing it up. We're not giving you the same looks over and over and over again. Sometimes we're going to be in a 4-3. Sometimes we're going to be in a 3-4. Sometimes those outside backers in a 3-4 are going to be on the line of scrimmage. Sometimes they're not, and they're going to go into the flat. And I think that's the way to do it. You got to try to confuse these quarterbacks. If you make it too easy for them, they can pick you apart, no matter pretty much who they are. I mean, these guys work at their craft 24 hours a day with as much money as is available to these quarterbacks. I mean, C.J. Stroud's talking about wanting $70 million. $70 million for C.J. Stroud, who stinks, by the way. But with that much money available, these guys are working at their craft. It's not like the old days. 24 hours a day. They're trying to get better because, it's quite lucrative to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, especially if you can be really good. So you just can't give these guys the same thing to look at all day, all game long. Just doesn't work. So, so it was good to see that we were doing versions of schematic fluidity even here, and even with Osai wasn't playing, and Agbare looked like he was still getting into playing shape. He didn't look as quick as he normally will. Andre Sweat wasn't playing, so we had a lot of guys missing. But even so, I thought it was pretty interesting that we changed it up quite a bit. And that's exactly what I wanted to see when Glenn took over. And I never understood why he did what he did with the defense last year. One of many bad decisions he made. And so, but he's now corrected for it. And that's the good thing. He's now corrected for that. And so that was good to see. And we're going to see more of that. So get ready for Fire Zone blitzing. These stupid beat writers are going to tell you, oh, why is David Bailey going into coverage? That's stupid. No, it's just a Fire Zone blitz. It's totally normal. Jamian Sherwood was out there for a long time. I wondered if he was getting some work as the middle linebacker, as the green dot or something, though he didn't switch helmets. So maybe not. But he seemed like he remained in the game longer than his starting compatriots. We'll have to see about that. Jordan Clark had some nice tackles. One guy I was looking at that didn't really seem to do much was Darrell Jackson. So I was watching Darrell Jackson, and because he was playing against backups, I was like, oh, he's probably going to move these guys around. And I didn't really see that. So that might be something that's a little bit of a disappointment there. Let's see if he can improve. So Aaron Glenn, let's see what Aaron Glenn said. What if we put this on the sleep timer? Why is it? What about subtitles, closed captions unavailable? Because you guys aren't going to be able to hear it. Well, all right, fine. So we'll just have to check in with the beat writers to see if they caught anything interesting from Mr. Glenn. After the game, let's check in with our beat writers. And Roger, Aaron Glenn, there's so much noise on the outside. It's really good to see our guys just focus on the now. They're trained to do that. It's hard sometimes, but I'm really proud of how our guys respond to that. Just continue to work. Okay. Geno Smith looked very comfortable. Praised him for spreading the ball around. Yep. Happy for David Bailey. Noted there are areas you can improve. Cade Klubnik going to grow every time he's on the field. Glad that Klubnik got a 2-minute drill at the end of half. Yeah, that was interesting. And he looked comfortable doing that. And we got a field goal attempt off, but it missed. Wanted to make sure he started the second half to see how he handled halftime adjustments. Lamented lack of run game. Yep. Mistakes in pass coverage. Okay. So some areas to improve. Definitely the run game was looking lackluster. Okay, so this is coming through. All right. Number of things we thought, well, but man, there are a number of things we have to improve upon. Okay. Game over. Jets win. Good night. Good night for Aaron Glenn and his squad. Rich Cimini says star for Geno Smith, star for David Bailey, star for Andre Cisco, Sam Womack with the interceptions, 16 different players with receptions. Cade Klubnik step up in competition, not as crisp as last week, says Rich Cimini. Running game, nothing doing. That's true. I thought Klubnik looked even better, to be honest, because they were blitzing the hell out of him. and he responded well. I mean, there was one pass when he got blitzed by the safety where he threw it to Isaiah Williams. That was an amazing pass. It was incomplete, but it was an incredible throw. All right, so it doesn't seem to be much going on here. No mention of injuries, so that's good. Hopefully we got out of here unscathed as far as injuries are concerned. Yeah, but that's good. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. I'm not seeing any comments. Let me send in a comment so I know they're working. It is late night, so we'll keep it brief, but just wanted to come and do an instant analysis. I think this was actually a better game for Cade Klubnik because of the level of difficulty and what the Steelers did to him. They did not take it easy on him at all. They were blitzing left, right, and center, and they had a bunch of their starters still out there. And so I don't think, to me, that's more impressive if you can still, okay, this is working. All right, well, maybe you guys are falling asleep or getting drunk. I don't know what's going on at your place. But nonetheless, I thought he faced a stiffer test here. And I thought he did well. Like that throw to Williams, which was an incomplete pass, tells you a lot more about Cade Klubnik than some 5-yard pass over the middle. I mean, it's nice that he hit a bunch of those, but that was a really high-level throw. Put it only where our guy could get it. It was a tough catch, yes, and Williams didn't make it, but I thought it showed quick processing and an ability to make a throw while under extreme duress, which is way more impressive than just standing in a perfect pocket and, delivering it right over the middle to a wide open guy. So to me, this performance was much better for Klubnik in terms of an evaluation standpoint. Great job. And, not perfect. Obviously, you can always do a lot of things better. But I think what we're seeing with Cade Klubnik is the same things that the Jets saw in him that made them so want to put him on the team. And that's really nice. It seems like their evaluation of him seems to be correct. So far. We'll see what happens going forward, but so far, so good. We are just listening. All right. Well, it is 10:30, so that's the instant reaction to the Jets 17-0. And boy, did I want that shutout when they were going at the end of the game when Aller was bringing them down. I really wanted that shutout just for the way it looks. 17-0 looks a lot better than 17-7. So that being the case, last call for questions, comments, concerns, complaints, you name it. This has been the instant reaction to the Jets win 17-0 on the road against your Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers played Drew Aller and Will Howard. The Jets played Geno Smith for one series, then Cade Klubnik, then Bailey Zappi, and even Brady Cook got in there. And he actually threw a touchdown pass, so you got to give it to him. But that'll do it from FSPN. I'll see you guys on Sunday morning. Coffee with Frankie, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll see you then.